The storm hit faster than anyone expected. Hailstones bounced violently off the pavement, turning the streets into chaotic torrents. People ran for shelter, clutching their belongings, umbrellas barely standing against the relentless force. Amid the chaos, a small figure darted across the street, a little girl, drenched and terrified. She tried to shield herself with a thin jacket, but it offered little protection. A sleek black car screeched to a halt nearby, and a man jumped out. His tailored suit was soaked, but his attention was solely on her. This was Alex Morgan, a CEO known for his sharp mind and relentless work ethic, now acting purely on instinct. "Hey, come here," Alex called out, waving his arms. The little girl froze, eyes wide, unsure if she should trust the stranger. Around them, hailstones shattered against car windows and sidewalks, creating a rhythm of fear and urgency. Alex didn't hesitate. He scooped her into his arms, feeling the tiny body trembling. She buried her face into his chest, her small frame fragile against his firm grip. "You're safe now," he reassured her, glancing around for immediate shelter. A nearby awning offered some refuge from the storm, and he ran toward it, adrenaline pushing him forward. Once under the awning, the girl looked up at him. Her hair plastered to her forehead, eyes glistening with tears, she whispered, my mom used to talk about you." Alex froze, puzzled. There was an odd familiarity in her voice, a connection he couldn't immediately place. He knelt down to her level, brushing a strand of wet hair from her face. "Your mom. Do I know your mom?" he asked, his mind racing. She nodded softly, gripping the lapel of his jacket like a lifeline. The hailstorm continued outside, but for a brief moment, time seemed to pause between them. Memories flashed in Alex's mind. Years ago, he had met a woman named Emily during a charity gala. She had spoken of kindness, of helping people without expectation. Something about this girl's voice reminded him of her. He felt a tug in his heart, a mixture of curiosity and protectiveness. "What's your name, little one?" he asked gently. "Lila," she whispered. The name sounded familiar, yet distant. He realized that the timing, the voice, the situation, everything aligned in a way that suggested fate had brought them together in this storm. The hailstorm eventually slowed, leaving a misty drizzle behind. Alex guided Lila to his car, unlocking the doors and wrapping a spare coat around her small shoulders. "We'll get you somewhere warm," he said. She clung to him tightly, as if afraid to let go. The city streets reflected the storm's aftermath, puddles glimmering under dim streetlights, leaves scattered, and occasional shattered glass glinting dangerously. Driving carefully, Alex navigated through the slippery roads, glancing at Lila in the passenger seat, whose small fingers fidgeted with the coat. "Do you live around here?" Alex asked, trying to make conversation, but Lila shook her head. I was supposed to meet someone, but then the storm came," she replied softly. Her voice carried a hint of hesitance, a child's guarded caution around strangers. Alex nodded, understanding the complexity of trust. He wanted to reassure her, but also respect the space she needed. The city lights reflected in her wide, curious eyes, which seemed to search for familiarity amidst fear. As they drove, Lila's story began to unfold. She spoke about her mother, Emily, who had often told her about a kind man named Alex who had once helped her during a difficult time. Alex listened intently, every detail sharpening the image of a past connection. It became clear that Lila's mother had thought of him often, and that now, through her daughter, a bridge between past and present was being rebuilt. He felt a rare warmth in his heart, a break from the high-pressure life of a CEO, and a glimpse of meaningful human connection. By the time they arrived at his penthouse apartment, the drizzle had stopped. Alex carried Lila inside, careful not to slip on the wet steps. He guided her to the living room, warming her with a towel and a cup of hot chocolate. She sat quietly, sipping, as he cleaned the wet streaks off his suit. The apartment's modern elegance contrasted with the vulnerability of the small child, yet somehow it felt like the perfect sanctuary. Lila finally relaxed, her small shoulders dropping as she realized she was safe and cared for. "You know," Lila said after a moment, looking up at him with wide eyes, "my mom said you were always kind, always helping people." Alex's throat tightened. He had spent years focusing on business deals, often overlooking the simpler gestures of kindness. Now, In this quiet, warm apartment, he realized how impactful a small act could be, enough to resonate across time and reach the next generation. He smiled gently at her, feeling a mixture of humility and connection. Lila's story continued, filling the room with laughter and soft gasps. She spoke of her mother's teachings, of how Emily had wanted her daughter to grow up knowing the difference between selfishness and generosity. Alex realized that he was witnessing the legacy of kindness firsthand. Every word she spoke felt like a thread weaving their lives together. He sat beside her, sharing anecdotes from his own childhood, finding humor in his clumsy attempts at bravery, and slowly, the atmosphere softened into one of mutual trust. Hours passed as the storm cleared completely. The city skyline outside glimmered under a starry night, and Alex felt an unusual serenity. He realized that rescuing Lila was only the beginning of a story much larger than himself. He thought about reconnecting with Emily, about what her mother had meant to him years ago. Lila's presence was a reminder that life sometimes offered second chances, through unexpected moments that seemed orchestrated by fate. He found himself silently promising to protect her, to guide her, and to honor the memory of her mother. The next morning, Alex prepared breakfast while Lila played with small toys on the living room floor. She asked questions about his work, about the city, and about things he had long forgotten to explain to anyone. He answered patiently, realizing the joy in simplicity, in sharing knowledge without expectation. Her curiosity sparked something in him, a reminder that life isn't solely about deals and profits, but about nurturing relationships, building trust, and inspiring hope. During breakfast, Lila suddenly asked, "Will I see my mom again?" Her innocent question struck him profoundly. Alex paused, contemplating the past and present, the bridge between them, and the responsibility he now carried. He explained gently that her mother had always cared deeply, and that though they might be apart physically, her mother's love would always be with her. Lila listened intently, nodding slowly, absorbing his words like a small but resilient seed of understanding. Over the next few days, Alex and Lila developed a routine. He dropped work calls to spend time with her, read stories, and taught her simple games. In return, she shared laughter, hugs, and anecdotes about her mother's lessons. Each day strengthened their bond, transforming a chance encounter during a hailstorm into a profound, life-altering connection. Alex realized that leadership wasn't just about business, it was about guiding, protecting, and nurturing, whether in the boardroom or in a living room with a little girl. One afternoon, Lila discovered a photo album on a shelf. She pointed to a picture of Emily and asked questions, tracing her small fingers over the smiling faces. Alex shared memories carefully, recounting how he had met her mother, their brief but meaningful encounters, and the legacy of kindness she had left behind. Lila's eyes sparkled with understanding and admiration, deepening her connection not only with Alex but also with the memory of her mother. That evening, they walked together on the rooftop terrace, overlooking the city. Lila leaned on him, whispering about the storm and how scary it had been. Alex held her hand firmly, reassuring her that she was safe now, that storms could pass, and that life had a way of connecting people who were meant to meet. He realized the storm had been a turning point, not just in rescuing her physically, but in intertwining their lives emotionally. Lila then asked about his life before the rescue. Alex hesitated, then shared stories of work, responsibilities, and challenges he had faced as a single parent. He hadn't realized the weight of balancing leadership and personal life until now. Lila listened, her empathy beyond her years, asking questions and offering small, heartfelt comments. It struck him that even children can understand responsibility and care in ways adults sometimes forget. They continued to explore the apartment, playing games and imagining adventures. Lila's energy brought a freshness to the place, a contrast to the often rigid structure of Alex's life. He found himself laughing more, worrying less, and feeling a deep sense of gratitude. The encounter during the hailstorm had changed everything. Not only had he rescued her, but she had rescued a part of him that had been buried under ambition and stress. One rainy afternoon, as the city was washed in silver reflections, Alex received a call. It was Emily, her voice trembling. She had learned about Lila's safety and wanted to reconnect. Alex's heart leapt. He assured her that her daughter was safe and happy, recounting the bond they had formed. Emily expressed gratitude, tears evident in her words, and Alex felt the profound weight of reunion, forgiveness, and new beginnings. Lila overheard the conversation and asked if she could talk to her mom. Alex handed the phone to her gently. Their conversation was filled with joy, questions, and reassurance. Lila's laughter echoed through the apartment, a melody that softened even Alex's most hardened thoughts. He watched silently, feeling the warmth of family, the importance of connection, and the fulfillment of having acted with courage during the storm. That night, as they tucked Lila into bed, she hugged Alex tightly. "Thank you for saving me," she whispered. Alex kissed her forehead, feeling the truth in her words. The act of rescue had evolved into a deep emotional bond. He realized that life's purpose was not merely measured in achievements but in moments like these, protecting, guiding, and loving those who depend on us. Days turned into weeks. Lila adjusted to her new life, visiting Alex regularly, sharing stories, and helping him rediscover joy in small moments. Alex introduced her to hobbies, music, and even the corporate world in child-friendly ways. They laughed, learned, and created memories that transcended the initial storm, forming a bond that neither time nor circumstance could easily break. One evening, Alex and Lila sat watching the sunset from the terrace. Lila asked, "Do you think Mom would be proud of me?" Alex smiled, holding her hand firmly. "She already is," he replied. "And I'm proud too." Lila's eyes sparkled, reflecting the golden horizon. The storm was long gone, replaced by calm and promise, mirroring the transformation in both their lives. Alex reflected on the journey, how a chance encounter during a hailstorm led to rediscovering love, compassion, and connection. He realized the unpredictability of life often brings the most meaningful experiences. Lila's presence reminded him that courage, kindness, and empathy are timeless virtues, capable of bridging generations and hearts. Lila began creating a small scrapbook with Alex, chronicling memories, drawings, and stories. Each page reflected their growing bond and her mother's enduring influence. Alex admired her creativity and dedication, marveling at how someone so small could teach lessons in love, resilience, and hope that even adults struggle to grasp. A few months later, Emily officially reconnected with Alex. Together, they discussed Lila's future, education, and shared experiences. The bond formed during the storm laid a strong foundation for collaboration, friendship, and mutual respect. Alex realized that fate had not only rescued a child but had orchestrated a reunion, healing old wounds and forming a new family dynamic. On Lila's birthday, Alex organized a small celebration. Friends, neighbors, and colleagues joined. Lila smiled radiantly, expressing joy and gratitude. The day was filled with laughter, games, and heartfelt moments. Alex watched her, feeling a sense of accomplishment far beyond any business achievement, a fulfillment rooted in love, protection, and meaningful connections. As night fell, Alex tucked Lila into bed once more. She whispered, "I'll always remember this, and so will Mom." Alex smiled, kissed her forehead, and whispered back, "And I'll always be here for you." Outside, the city lights twinkled like stars, reflecting the harmony between past and present, storm and calm, rescue and lifelong love. The hailstorm had passed, but the bond formed in its wake would endure forever.